because I want to point out that this is meaningful. And today, I just want to go over the stats, just so we can get to baseline on where we are. Since the pandemic started, hate crimes against Asian Americans have gone up 150%, while overall hate crimes have gone down. Asian Americans have been the victim of an increase of hate crimes. Of all hate crimes that are perpetrated against Asian Americans, 68% are women. These are the grandmothers, these are the mothers, these are the aunts, the daughters, the sisters, the wives. And that's not by mistake. 35% of all discrimination felt in the Asian community experienced in the workforce. Again, this is not by mistake. While the world may have, actually woke up when the Atlanta shootings happened, this is a very deep-seated history of systemic racism. Asian Americans have been here since before the 1800s. During the 1800s, that was when the majority of the Chinese came over to work with the Irish immigrants in building the transcontinental railroads. I always bring up the Chinese Exclusionary Act, but before the Chinese Exclusionary Act, I'm going to bring it back to the Page Act. We think about the Atlantic shooting and how there was a slow response to identifying this as a hate crime. During the Page Act was specifically geared and targeted towards women. Stereotypes, insidious stereotypes of Asian American women being hypersexualized, these are deep-rooted in our history, US history. The Page Act targeted primarily Asian women because they thought they were lewd, immoral, and they were going to entice the white men. Then came the Chinese Exclusionary Act, and I'm not going to go through all of the history, but it's relevant because it's playing out in today's society. This is not a new phenomenon. It's been happening since the beginning of Asian Americans stay here. The perpetual foreigner stereotype is applied exclusively to Asians, notwithstanding Asian Americans just being here since the 1800s. The reason I bring this up is today, I'm an attorney by trade. I was a former chief of the Civil Rights Unit of Norfolk County. I love the city of Quincy because the city of Quincy, the legislators and the representatives have done so much for our community. District Attorney Morrissey, when he was a representative, and I see Tim Cahill, State Treasurer Tim Cahill, with Tackett Chan and I, we passed the Asian American Commission. That was in 2006. It's because they understood that this was a form of systemic racism that needed to be addressed. All my biggest supporters, I always say I have the strongest gravitational pull to Quincy because all my strongest supporters were from Quincy. I also experienced some of my racism in Quincy as an assistant district attorney. I was actually on Granite Street coming back from the courthouse with the files this high. Wow. Some kid came and knocked all the files out and flurry of racial epithets at me. I was a prosecutor and I did not report it. I picked up my stuff and I just went to my office. The reason I bring this up is this is ongoing and this cannot continue. So I thank white, black, brown, red, LGBTQ for being here today. But right now, I'm gonna talk to my people. Now is the time for action. It is time, when the cameras go away and no one's reporting on this, we cannot take our foot off the pedal. We need to continue to be seen, we need to continue to be heard, because we cannot remain invisible anymore. So I ask, and I come here as a professional, a mother, a sister, a daughter. So to the mothers out there, I ask you, if you don't know Asian American history, learn it, teach it to your kids, then take it to the PTO. Make them learn it. Because without that context, they do not understand. To all my allies and all my people that have showed up today, learn the API history and share it with everybody, because that is where you give our people dignity and humanity and value. The insidious problem with being invisible is we become dehumanized. And I'm gonna go over some of the hate crimes just to keep it real. 84-year-old Thai man from Oakland is murdered, tackled to the ground. Seattle, Washington, a Japanese teacher with a white boyfriend going through Chinatown gets hit in the face with a sock and a rock. Her whole face is smashed in. All her teeth are knocked out. New York, on a subway, a Filipino man gets his face slashed ear to ear on the subway. We have the Atlanta shooting. That was very well covered, and that was horrific. I have to say, one of the most soul-breaking moments was when I saw the 64-year-old woman in Midtown being brutally attacked, kicked on the ground, and her head kicked in. And after the danger was gone, watching the security guards close the door. That exemplifies where we are as a community. That is where we are as a community. We need to get out of that space, and we need everybody here and everybody's brothers and sisters, and I'm not just talking to my Asian folks now, to help us to get out of that space, because I kid you not, it literally is a matter of life and death. So I ask you today, for my people, be heard, be seen, be a pain, swear if you have to, go Sharon Ma. And for those that see us today and hear us today, don't let us out of your sights. And my last ask is for Asian Americans, this is really hard. For our senior citizens, we ask one last sacrifice. You help us fight back, you do it safely, and you help us mobilize and get the message out so we can see the light in the end of the tunnel and end this racism. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Grace Lee. Mayor, Grace and I will make you Quincy. So, we have to do more. We will continue to do it. I know many of you want to continue to support and help the Asian and immigrant community. Quincy Asian Resources is planning various initiatives for the Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in May. So please contact us at info@quincyasianresources.org or visit our website at www.qariusa.org. Again, thank you for your time today and your support to the Asian community. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Hey, Turkey.